In the eerie town of Amikanson, a chilling tale unfolds as a TV flickers to life, revealing a host interviewing a young survivor, a girl who narrowly escaped the brutal massacre orchestrated by a madman known as Clown. His reign of terror left countless dead, his laughter echoing through the streets as he took lives without remorse, employing grotesque methods that haunt the community. This girl, forever marked by the horror she endured, bears the scars of that night, a haunting reminder of her survival amidst chaos. As the clock struck 8 o'clock, the TV blared with a haunting interview, captivating a sinister figure who watched intently. In a fit of rage, he kicked and shattered the screen, shattering the moment of calm before he prepared for his next act of violence. With a chilling precision, he applied his Joker makeup, transforming into a grotesque caricature of madness, before arming himself with a deadly weapon. Meanwhile, the TV host, still reeling from the girl's story, chatted with a friend on the phone, the survivor's disfigurement or unsightly features. Just as she was about to share more, an unsettling noise interrupted her, causing her to turn cautiously. She stepped into the shadows, heart racing, only to find the space behind her empty. Suddenly, the girl from the interview lunged at the host, and with a swift, brutal motion, she poked her fingers into her eyes, bursting them with a horrifying squelch. In a frenzied rage, she dismantled his Yulia routine, leaving chaos in her wake as she killed her, her mind shattered ever since the attack by the Joker, known as Art. Meanwhile, two close friends, Tara and her companion, were making their way home from a vibrant Halloween party, the streets alive with revelers dressed in an array of costumes, from ghouls to witches. The atmosphere was electric, but beneath the festive facade, an undercurrent of fear lingered, as the night was not just a celebration. He roams around wearing clothes and masks, and even today he comes out on Halloween. The same thing happens to Hunt a Prey. Tara's friend starts making fun of him, but the next moment he disappears, where Oth also follows them. As soon as he comes inside, he starts staring at Tara. This thing seems very strange to Tara, but her friends go and start making pictures with Oth. Now she does not like this thing at all. Arctic takes out a ring from the machine and makes Tara wear it, due to which Tara gets very angry, but her friend likes this thing quite a lot. Now he goes to the washroom. As the night wore on, the tension escalated when the Joker began to act erratically, prompting the shop owner to nervously let him leave. Meanwhile, Tara and her friend continued their journey home, only to discover that their car had a punctured tire. Frustrated, Tara called her sister, Victoria, asking for help and feigning illness to avoid alarming her. As they waited, the Joker's face began to burn from the aftermath of his violent outburst, a searing pain that sent him into a frenzy. In a moment of desperation, he lashed out at a nearby wall, striking it hard, but the pain only intensified, causing him to stumble back. He quickly wiped at his face, trying to escape the agony, but the burning sensation persisted, driving him deeper into madness. Tara felt an urgent need to find a washroom. Her eyes darted around until they fell on a building directly across the street, where a guard stood watch outside, seemingly desperate for relief. She goes near him and asks for permission to use the washroom, but he denies, saying that I work here, my job might be in danger. To this, Tara says that it is so late. How would anyone know that washroom has been used? On her saying something more, the man goes and brings her inside. He leaves her after the washroom and goes away. Tara's friend, sitting in the car, comes to know from the news that Malik and a worker have died, and the person who killed them is a Joker-like looking man who is also holding a bag in his hand. Now, on knowing this, she understands that this is the work of Clown. In the car, Tara turned to share her concerns about the notorious Joker, known as Art, but was startled to realize that the person beside her wasn't Tara. It was Clown. Confused, she continued to scan the surroundings when she heard the baby's sound of crying. Curiosity piqued. She stepped out to investigate, only to be confronted by a woman appearing from behind, clutching a doll tightly as she tried to comfort her son. It became clear that the woman was struggling with her sanity. Tara, now engaged in conversation with her, attempted to understand her plight, while gently guiding her away from distress. As she moved forward, the atmosphere shifted dramatically when she encountered Artie Clown, whose hands were stained with blood, yet remained eerily calm. Tara stood frozen for a moment, but the next instant, Art threatened her, sending her sprinting away in fear. She quickly hid behind a nearby car, her heart racing as she listened for his footsteps. Art searched frantically for her, but when he couldn't find her, he eventually left, leaving Tara momentarily relieved. Thinking it was safe, she began to make her way out, but suddenly, Art attacked her from behind, striking her multiple times with his weapon. In the chaos, Tara's attention was diverted, and she managed to push herself away, scrambling to the other side. As she caught her breath, she realized the door to a nearby building was closed. With determination, she climbed up through it, seeking refuge. She finds the guard standing there. She calls out to him, but he doesn't hear because he is busy listening to songs at that time. Now on hearing her voice, Art reaches there and attacks her from behind and makes her happy by injecting her in the neck. In the next scene, when Tara gains consciousness, she finds herself tied to a chair. There was tape on her mouth too. Off is also sitting near her, and when he sees that Tara has regained consciousness, he starts threatening her with his weapons. Then he brings a wink, and the curtain in front moves away where he has shot Tara's friend upside down. Art's cruel intentions became evident when Tara realized her friend was hanging there, because he had been caught in the chaos earlier while they were in the car. Art taunted her, gruesomely cutting open her friend's stomach and splitting her in two, which shattered Tara's composure and sent her health spiraling. However, summoning every ounce of strength, she managed to free herself from her restraints, seizing off his weapon. She attacked him and fled, but he pursued her desperately. In a fierce turn of events, Tara ambushed him from behind, relentlessly striking him until, in a climactic moment, she powered off and killed him, transforming from a victim into a determined warrior, ready to reclaim her life. As Tara fought fiercely, determined to overpower Art, he resorted to cheating, abandoning hand-to-hand combat for the cold steel of his gun. He shot her first in the thigh, the pain searing through her, and then mercilessly aimed for her face, leaving Tara reeling from the loss. Art went to retrieve more ammunition, but stumbled upon a similar mobile phone. On it, he found a message from Tara's sister, Victoria, stating that she had reached outside the building. Seizing the opportunity, he messaged her, posing as Tara, and lured her to come inside through the back door. After orchestrating this deceit, he took 2 gruesome pictures of Tara with her lifeless body, showcasing the horrific state of her remains. Oth approached Tara with a cold, calculated demeanor, firing bullets at her indiscriminately, each shot echoing the horror of the moment. Nearby, the madwoman watched in disbelief, her mind racing as she witnessed the brutal scene unfold. Driven by desperation, she rushed to the guard, trying to explain the gravity of the situation, but he dismissed her, preoccupied with calling for backup. In a sudden turn, Off attacked her, further escalating the chaos. The madwoman, fueled by a mix of rage and sorrow, recalled her child, who had once clutched a doll, now in the hands of a cruel man. The madwoman, in a twisted act of desperation, took Art by the hand, treating him as if he were a child, and he played along, mimicking the innocence she projected. As she approached the building, she rang out, and the bell chimed from within. When she stepped inside, a wave of shock washed over her as she discovered the mutilated body of Tara's friend, a gruesome sight that sent her heart racing. Just then, she heard a faint voice that sounded like a girl's, and in her mind, she believed it to be Tara. Rushing down to investigate, she found a woman lying on the ground, ringing the bell in agony from her injuries. As she knelt beside her, hoping it was Tara, as Victoria rushed toward the injured woman, she suddenly collided with the mad woman, who was also badly hurt. Confusion clouded her mind as she realized that Oth had already been there, and the woman before her was not Tara, but Oth himself, disguised to trap her. With a menacing grin, he attacked, but in a stroke of luck, Victoria managed to fend him off, narrowly escaping his grasp. She hurried upstairs and found refuge in a cupboard, her heart pounding in fear. Off, sensing her presence, soon approached, knowing she was hiding inside. Just as he was about to force his way in, the sound of a horn blared outside. drawing his attention away. He paused, curiosity piqued, and went to check, leaving Victoria. He actually came with a guard. The one who had to come inside removes the carpet. The key was lying there. Then he opens the door and goes inside. There he sees blood stains, which obviously was very strange. But before he can understand anything, AAJ also attacks someone's head and cuts his throat, separating him from the body. Victoria tries to leave from here, but it is of no use. She sees Aid in front of her, who is riding the little girl's bicycle. But the next moment he disappears from there, and the bicycle falls right there. He plays the same game here. Victoria, desperate to escape the cupboard, made a move to get out. But Oth appeared from behind, launching a brutal attack. He grabbed her, preparing to strangle her against the shop wall. But in a moment of sheer instinct, she broke free, spotting a nail nearby. She seized it and struck off on the leg before sprinting away. Her heart raced as she dashed to find her sister Tara, only to be met with the horrific sight of her condition. Overwhelmed with grief, Victoria broke down in tears. Just then, Off reappeared, attacking her mercilessly, landing blow after blow. However, a guard rushed in at that moment, intervening and tackling Off to the ground, bringing him to his senses. In the chaos, Off noticed Tara's dire condition and, consumed by rage, struck her with a cylinder before brutally burning her face with his foot. Panic surged through Victoria as she desperately searched for a way to escape, grabbing an iron pipe that Off had carelessly left behind. With all her strength, she swung at the lock, and it finally broke, but her relief was short-lived as Off closed in on her. Just as he was about to strike again, Victoria managed to jab something into his eye, causing. As Victoria frantically tried to escape, she realized the door to Raj was fixed, preventing her from getting inside. Just then, the police arrived, but before she could reach them, a car crashed through the church doors, colliding with her and knocking her unconscious. When the police finally made their way inside, they were horrified to find Victoria's condition. Her face was being torn apart by the chaos surrounding her. They urged her to surrender and lay down her weapon, but in a moment of despair, Off shoved a gun into his mouth and pulled the trigger, ending his own life. The police quickly realized that Victoria was still alive, albeit severely injured. As they secured the scene, they discovered the bodies of all the victims. A grim testament to the violence that had unfolded, leaving a haunting silence in the aftermath of the tragedy. When Doctor goes to the hospital, it looked quite strange because even after dying he was smiling. Now he will start the process of killing people in this hospital. Now some things happen, and we see Victoria, who finally got saved from becoming a victim of the aid. Tomorrow she has to go for an interview as well, and after that we see her face, which looked quite horrific, which was of the girl who was giving the interview. While giving the interview for this, he takes out her eyes and plays with her, and then replaces his own gouged out eyes with them. And then he beats her more and finally does something to her body and gives her a very horrible death. Now he goes to a laundry where a man was sleeping. He puts his clothes in the washing machine, and then he sees a strange girl here who was just like him, crazy and extremely weird. She was behaving exactly like today, and she had done her makeup just like him. Both of them get very happy to see each other and start playing together. He had killed everyone. Now the question here arises that Art had shot himself in the head, but he did not die. Because Terrasil till now, all the people who tried to kill him had to die. Now here this thing is not clear whether he can be killed or not. It is possible that whatever could be done to him. Like the video if you like that, comment for the part 2.